All right, so today's the day we're doing the cooling system refresh on the E36 BMW M3. All right, I have all my parts laid out here that I'm going to be using for the project. This is an aluminum thermostat housing. I'm going to be replacing the BMW factory plastic thermostat housing, which can be prone to cracking. And I also have a leak. I'm not sure if it's coming from here, from the thermostat, or if it's coming from the water pump. So I'm going to be replacing both of these. Later, I'll find that I had a leak both at the water pump as well as at the thermostat housing. See some spray here from where it was dripping down onto the belt. Here's the replacement water pump. Here is the thermostat. I decided to go with an 80 degrees Celsius thermostat as opposed to the factory 80, I think it's 86 or 88 degrees. So this is a little bit cooler, which should be beneficial for me down here in Florida. I have radiator hoses, upper and lower, and then also the hose for the expansion tank. I'll go ahead and provide links and put them down in the description for each of these parts where you can find them for the best price available. First thing I'm going to do is get the car up on jack stands. I'm going to start by grabbing my jack, and I use a hockey puck to provide some padding. I'm going to place the jack next to the factory jacking point, so not on the factory rubber, because that factory rubber jacking point is where I'm going to want my jack stand to be when I lower the car onto the jack stands. All right, next I'm going to prepare to drain the coolant. I'm going to loosen up the coolant fill cap. You can see a lot of the spray, the coolant spray, from underneath where it was hitting the pulleys and the belts and kind of spraying the tensioner and some other areas, some of these lines. I didn't order a replacement radiator because you can see here, this one's from 2013. This has already been replaced by the previous owner, and the car didn't have a lot of miles since 2013. Now, I don't know if this car recently had a coolant flush or not, so I'm cleaning out my drain pan. That way it's clean. If I decide that I'm going to reuse the coolant when it comes out, if it's clean, then I can do so. Now we're ready to drain the coolant, so I'm going to loosen up the drain plug and have my drain pan ready. And while that's finishing draining, I'm going to move back up top. All right, now up top, I'm going to start removing the air box, this intake vent, and this plastic cover. I have to pop off these two release tabs with a screwdriver from the intake boot. And then there's two nuts that I'm going to have to remove from the cruise control actuator. And once that's done, you can easily remove the air box. Next, I'll remove this small portion of the air duct, and then I'm going to remove all the fasteners from the front cover. There's two Phillips heads at the top. There's two, I believe, 8mm in the middle, and two plastic trim plugs that need to be removed before you can lift this out of place. Now I'm just doing some cleanup, so when I put things back together, it's nice and clean. All right, next I'm going to remove the upper radiator hose that goes to the thermostat. I'm going to start by undoing the clamps. There's one plastic trim plug at each side of the fan shroud that will need to be removed. This holds the top of the fan shroud into place. Next, I'm going to start the process of removing the expansion tank. First, I'm going to remove the cap. Then I'm going to remove the vent screw. Now, underneath the vent screw, there's a plastic clip that you'll see has two little tabs. Those tabs need to be pushed in. So I'm using an interior trim removal tool to push in those tabs and kind of pry this up, and then that piece easily comes out. That'll loosen up the top section of the expansion tank. Next, I'm going to work on removing the fan. Okay, there's a 32mm bolt on the fan clutch, so I have a 32mm wrench. Now this is reverse thread. Now I also had to make this custom tool that grips onto the bolts for the fan pulley to hold it in place so it doesn't spin when I'm trying to loosen that 32mm bolt on the fan clutch. Now you'll need to use something like this. I've seen a couple of different methods. I had this seal removal tool that seemed like it could be easily modified by just drilling a hole through one of the sides to get it to work, and it did. And once that nut was loose, then I could spin it by hand to get it off and then carefully remove the fan. Here I'm just removing the small amount of rust with a Dremel using a fiber wheel, and I'll put a link down in the description on where you can purchase these fiber wheels. Alright, so next I'm attempting to remove the fan cover, but wait, there's a couple things that need to come off before you can remove this fan cover. There's two lines that run through the fan cover. One is the expansion tank line, so that expansion tank needs to be fully removed before you can get this cover. The next, there's another line that also runs through the bottom. So once I realized that, I switched back to removing the expansion tank. I'm removing the expansion tank hose from the top. And then next, I'll need to go down below and remove the line from the bottom of the expansion tank. Make sure you have your drain pan ready when you do this because a lot of coolant's going to come out. Now we're ready to remove the fan shroud. It just kind of slides out. Next, I'll do some cleanup so it's nice and clean when I put it back in the car. Next, I'm going to work on removing the hose clamps for the lower radiator hose. And once those are removed, then I'm going to remove that radiator hose. Next, I'm going to crack loose the bolts for the water pump pulley. Make sure you do this before you remove the belt because the belt will provide enough tension in order to get the bolts cracked loose. Next, we're going to remove the belt. You'll need a number 10 hex bit to put on the tensioner pulley to release the tension from the belt. Once the tension is released, you'll see that the belt easily comes off. Now I didn't remove my belt completely. I left it partially routed through the pulleys just so it would be easier for me when I was putting things back together. Now we can fully remove the water pump pulley bolts and then remove the water pump pulley. Now I'm checking the bearing on this old water pump and it does have a little bit of play. So it definitely needed to be replaced. Next we're going to remove the thermostat housing, and there's 4 bolts that secure this into place, 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. There's also a bracket that covers part of the top. You don't need to remove that bracket, but you do need to loosen the nut that is on the top of the bracket just to give it a little bit of play, to give yourself enough room to get that thermostat housing out. Now as I remove this thermostat housing, I slowed down the video so you can see on the bottom that this was leaking as well. So both the water pump and the thermostat housing needed to be replaced. Before I pull out the water pump, I do some quick cleaning of the mating surfaces for the thermostat housing, just so no debris gets into the water pump opening. With the thermostat housing out of the way, we're going to start removing the 4 bolts that hold the water pump into place. With the water pump removed, you can see where it was leaking out the bottom. Looks like it was an O-ring failure. This water pump also has a plastic impeller, and those tend to crack. And you'll see with this new water pump has a metal impeller. Before I install this, I'm going to use some Permatex water pump sealer. I'm only going to use this on the flat surfaces. I'm not putting this on the O-ring. All right, I have my thin layer of Permatex spread out. Now it's ready to be installed. I'm going to install these bolts in a crisscross pattern, and I'm going to torque them down in that same sequence. Now we're going to place the thermostat into place and then move on to the thermostat housing. Also applying a thin layer of Permatex to the flat mating surfaces, but not to the O-ring. And just like with the water pump, I'm going to tighten these and torque them down in a star pattern or in a crisscross pattern. When these bolts were removed, they had some kind of sealer on them, so I'm applying Permatex to each one of these bolts as I reinstall them back on the water pump. Reassembly of the remaining hoses and the plastic pieces is the same as disassembly, so I'm going to jump ahead to this point so this video doesn't get too long. You just want to make sure that the Permatex had enough time to set before you refill the system with coolant. When you're refilling your coolant, you're going to want to burp the system. Make sure that you can get as much coolant in there as you can before you start the car. So I did that while I still had the car on jack stands. That way this expansion tank is at a higher level than the engine. That helps the coolant flow a little bit better through the system. Run it, let it get warm. Watch your temp gauge, make sure that it doesn't go over that midpoint mark, but you definitely want to let it get to halfway so that your thermostat opens. It's going to draw more coolant into the system, and then just keep refilling this. You can leave this open and leave that open until it won't take anymore. Then you can close everything up and take it for a ride. Don't go anywhere too far. If you start to overheat, you want to be somewhere that you can stop, let it cool down, then come back, check your level. If you're good, then you're good to go. If not, add some more coolant. The car took about 2 gallons, so I used 1 gallon of the BMW blue coolant and another gallon of distilled water.